Hello, everybody. I have my face zoomed in. I don't know why. That's hello. Surprise. There we go. Welcome to Law Junkies. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Yo.
It is so good to see you for this little chill out stream where we're not going to be playing D&D, we're going to be talking about playing D&D. Our beautiful little campaign that is now officially 9 weeks old. 8 sessions in, and so much to discuss. Well, there's only one way to do that, which is a little roundtable-esque discussion stream. So, we don't have much of intros to do this week. So, we'll just go around the table first of all, introduce ourselves and who we play, and yeah, let's have one random fact, like we do most weeks when I actually remember to do so. So, starting off, Veronia, who are you, who do you play, and give us a random fact about your character.
Hi, I'm Mai, aka Myra. I play Veronia. I am the Circle of Stars Fairies Druid. And a random fact about my character is, well, something that Patch only just realised a couple of weeks ago is Wild Brew is based off of Iron Brew.
Yep. I don't know why it took me so long to figure that out, but it did. I am appalled and ashamed. And QuestJunkiesUK as a corporation does not reflect the views and opinions shared by myself. And I'd just like to separate that failure from QuestJunkies as a whole. Yeah, thank you. Moving on, Connell.
Hello, I am Patrick, aka Patchin. Sometimes I draw art, but on Monday nights I play Connell McGinnis, Earth Genasi Runite Fighter. And I would say Connell's fun fact is during his training period to master his Runite abilities, he got into the cocky habit of attempting to do lots of flourishes when he prepares his weapon. So, say for instance, he'll have his hammer in his hand. He'll actually catch it, unlike I do, but like that. Essentially, like it does nothing in D&D stuff, but it gets him style points. Like he just likes to flip his hammer, catch it, flip his sword, catch it, and he likes to practice, and he thinks he's getting real good at it, and he's proud of himself.
He'd make a good cheerleader then.
Hey, like he will be the Rhodanian Rascals cheer head cheerleader.
I mean, that's our next fan art, surely.
Connor with a set of pom-poms that do like 1d12 damage.
Give me an M-U-F-F-I-N Muffin.
I just want to see Connell in a skirt. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yes.
He's already wearing a tunic, baby. That's already halfway there.
Incredible. Thank you. Bob.
So I'm Kyle. I play Bob. And what is a fun fact about Bob? A fact that nobody knows. Let's see. There's Bob is obsessed with palominos. It's one of his favorite things. He loves animals in general that have like spots and different interesting camouflaging effects in their natural habitat, and is just, you know, in love with palominos because of the way that they, all the different sort of ways that those spots function on the open plains.
Amazing. See, you learn something every week on QuestJunkiesUK. Be sure to save up your channel points for a Bob Talk some point further down the line. Thank you very much.
After this yet, have we?
Oh yeah, still coming. Frike.
Hello, I am Bridget. I play Frike, the Way of the Long Deaf Shatterkai monk. And a random fact about Frike: she once befriended a grung that got banished to the Shadowfell. And ever since then, she's always on the lookout for more grung because she finds them fascinating.
Like froggy friends.
Yeah, all the froggy friends.
This is not your DM making a note of that.
I would love to see a shadow toad pet or something.
Shadow Toad.
Shadow toad.
Shadow Toad.
I'm pretty sure I was in that band in the 90s.
Yeah, when you're like 4.
Yeah. I mean, I have been a musician all my life, so that is believable. Thank you very much. Reese?
Roll a deception check.
I don't need to.
He's telling the truth.
Then I roll insight.
Reese.
Hi everyone, my name is Wyatt. I play our fun bard cleric multi-class Tabaxi Reese. One fun fact about Reese is before his adventuring days, he worked as a day job in his little town as a fish catcher. And I mean that quite literally because his town is situated in a ravine where part of it is under a waterfall, and so there's this little bridge where he'd go and catch fish that are coming down the waterfall, and that was part of their food.
Amazing.
Oh.
Remember you
So
first told
fish
me about
catcher.
that. You first told me about that, and I was like, that's so ingenious. Like, do people not do that in real life? Like, surely, just stand there with a bucket. A bucket with holes in the bottom of it.
Understand that ecologically speaking, probably those fish that live on top of the waterfall had evolved some way not to fall 100 feet down the waterfall.
Don't ruin this dream for me, Kyle.
It's
I mean,
fantasy.
You could, instead of arguing with me, just make up a gorgeous reason as to why they do it. Like they have wings, like they're flying fish, or they're invulnerable, or something like that. All the males are up on top and all the females are down at the bottom, and spawning season comes and they all have to like come down the waterfall. Who knows?
All right.
There you go. That's your first mini Bob Talk there.
Absolutely.
They're
Absolutely.
magic
It's important.
fish. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, my dear companions. So, there's no better place to start than at the beginning. So where did this adventure begin? If anyone wants to refer to their notes, if you have notes, or ask their own questions at any point, feel free. I know. Let's have some muffins in the chat for Mai, who is on holiday but did not want to miss, so has a really complicated mobile setup just to be with us tonight. We appreciate. Hey, Scarlett, how you doing? Welcome on in. We're just getting started. We have some questions
I have
for
my
you.
tablet set up, I've got my old phone as a flashlight thing, I've got my mobile, and then I have my Switch somewhere, which I was going to use to watch the stream on, but yeah, complicated backup itself, so yeah.
We appreciate the effort. So, you know what? Let's swap this music out. It all started with a strawberry muffin, if I recall correctly. As such legends were born. So
Before trauma.
I guess my question, I guess the best question to start up with is for like each of you, like, what were your like early inspirations for your characters? You know, when I first approached you saying, "Come join the Rhódania Chronicles, you can do whatever you want," which is pretty much how I DM. Just as a little behind the scenes glimpse for everyone. So since we started with Rhys and Frike, how did you guys first begin to put your character ideas together?
I can go. Unless Bridget wants to go.
No one goes.
I withhold all information.
I
Next
mean, that
question,
tracks. That tracks.
A magician never tells his secrets.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, Bridget.
Well, I wanted to answer the question, what if Jessica Jones were a monk? And I somehow ended up with Frike. I'm less familiar with the source material of this other character, but I'm told that she also resembles the child of Ra's al Ghul, leader of the League of
Natalia.
Shadows. Yeah, that's it. So,
I would dispute the Talia reference because she's specifically trained not to cry or to care about her victims. So
true. Yeah. I didn't think she was gonna cry either, but here we find ourselves.
Sorry.
Oh.
I do like that though. Jessica Jones is not something I would have thought of, but when I do think about it, absolutely.
I feel like in the MCU, she is absolutely far more, like she's the most monk type character of anyone, including the guy that's supposed to specifically be a monk, who we don't speak about because the performance was so terrible that it destroyed an entire franchise on Netflix.
Amazing.
I think part of it is just that genuine desire to make a difference is also what I played off of, like in helping people, things like that. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. That's great. Rhys, what about your good self?
So, before I was asked to be part of our wonderful little show here, I was a DM myself. I am a DM myself for a little home game. We are on indefinite hiatus, so that's great. But during that time, I had so many character ideas that I just threw them all into D&D Beyond since I have the unlimited package. I'm just like, all characters, anyone that I can think of, I'll just throw in there, and at some point in time, I'll play it. So Rhys kind of came about of, I want to play a rogue, and I want to play Tabaxi. So I'm like, okay, cool. And yes, I'm fully aware that I said rogue. And so I like did all the fun stuff and like put it in there. I'm like, okay, cool. And about I don't know, it was like almost a year later from the point of making Rhys to being asked to be part of QuestJunkies. I went through, I probably have 16 different characters that I could choose from. I'm like, you know what? I want to play a cat. That feels like something no one else is going to play as. Lo and behold, that was a lie. And so anyway, went into Reese and was like, okay, cool. How does this little cat look? And really developed like, hey, he, has these attributes, part of this little colony. They look like snow leopards, helps them hide in mist, blah, blah, blah. Cool. So I start writing his backstory, and I'm like, this keeps not sounding like a rogue. And I was devastated. Because I was like, you know what this sounds like? This sounds like a bard. And I'm like, how did I go from a rogue to a fucking bard? And so that's how Reese came to be.
We're gonna touch on that a little later as well, because I think that journey's still ongoing with this introduction of a cleric multiclass.
Yeah, we're not talking.
Oh dear. So from there, we met the other aforementioned cat, which was Veronia. So how did Veronia come to be?
I mean, it could be something as simplistic as the fact that I am an absolute crazy cat lady, and dream to be a cat, of course. But to be honest, like, I'd been playing D&D for about a year and a half with another group, the first group ever, and I played a dwarf, and I kind of missed playing like little characters. Plus, I would love in the future to like learn enough to DM. So what I did was, and I still have, I have a Pinterest board basically of D&D, just all the kind of campaign I want to do, and I won't say the idea that I have for a campaign, but basically just say it includes a lot of small furry creatures. And the first time I came across the Phillies, I was like, oh my god, I get to be a cat. So yeah, and I'd never played a spellcaster before. I'd only played a barbarian blood hunter, and then my other character is a wood elf rogue thief. So I was like, oh man, I really want to try and dive into spells, because the closest thing to spells I'd done was like rituals and some of the stuff from like my blood hunter, barbarian blood hunter dwarf that I played. And I thought, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna give it a go. And as nervous as I was, and you know what, I'm actually really enjoying playing a druid. I'm like, spells are just, yeah, I'm loving it. Yeah, just and because I'm little and I'm cheeky and mischievous, and I thought, yeah, perfect to be a cat. So yeah, I thought, simple as that. I just love cats, and yeah, small characters, brilliant. We're fun. Like me, I'm small.
So from there, the three of you had your little dispute. Muffin-related incidents occurred. An alliance was formed. Somehow, the threads of destiny did combine you together in the most unexpected of ways, but so far so good. And you ventured into a quaint little town where you met some other people. First we met Connell. How did Connell come to be?
So I have this unending desire in all of my characters that I play in D&D. I just love heroes. I love playing a hero. I like, if we go from my childhood, like Spider-Man, Super Mario, Sonic, there's always like this sense of ideal, and then going into like my teens and stuff, like anime is a huge inspiration. So like you've got like all the main characters like Goku, Naruto, Luffy, Ash from Pokemon. Like they've all got this. They all have this goal that they're working toward, but there's also this great sense to protect, and they all have different dreams and desires. So with I don't know how I came up with the race with Connell. I just remember going through the list of races, and I remember seeing I like the idea of playing the nicest guy you'll ever meet, but he looks like somebody that could fuck you up really bad. Like I think it was like the session or two ago, I mentioned that like he looks like a bad guy, so people shouldn't really trust him. Because so like in my initial character design for Connell, like I wanted to make sure that he looked like some guy you would see in like, I don't know, like Dragon Age, who's gonna come and take all your money and stuff. Yeah, so like I don't know, like I guess just a piece of my own personality just like blends in with Connell, and the two lines just intertwine. And then with his fighting style, that just reflects what game I was playing back in June. Back in June, I was playing Monster Hunter, and the two weapons I used in that game are dual blades and hammers. So I was like, right, I'll swap out the blade, so I'll have a hammer and a blade, so I can smash and slash, and then like all their cool combos as well. And yeah, ironically, a lot of people say like fighters like your default learn how to play D&D race, but it's funny how like Connell's like my fourth or fifth campaign character I've played, and it's funny that I'm finally coming back to actually playing a fighter.
I mean, I think a lot of people view fighters as being really basic, but when you get into like the nitty gritty of it, they can do so much, and they are. I mean, like my main sort of class, if I was to have one, was spellcaster. So like, I have not played a proper fighter yet, not properly, and I want to, but it'll take me a while to get my head around everything, because there is a lot.
I mean, fighters, there's also all the subclasses of fighter are so different from each other, and really, like if you dig into it, it's like you've got barbarians who are like the giant meat shield, you know, who are just dealing out damage and taking all the damage, and that's what people think fighters should be, but really the fighters are the martial control class, where they are in charge of the battlefield and they make sure that their side wins, you know?
Yeah, so like the I'm like essentially what you're saying, Patch, like I started off playing spellcasters, and my first character was a cleric, second was a druid, and like in terms of situations, they're like a Swiss Army knife. Like they're so versatile and they can do so many different things. So now you kind of like, right, I'm just a guy with two weapons. How can I use that to accomplish simple goals? Like, oh, there's something happening up on that tree. What do? I throw the tiniest party member up the tree. Like I can cast fly, but I can yeet as far as fly can take it.
That is very true. I mean, that is a way of casting it in a sense. I mean, casting is a relative term, really. So,
what are spells if not physical implications?
Are we getting a Connell talk? All right, brilliant. And then we, shortly after a heated discussion about the implications of messing with gravity, we met Bob. So how did Bob come together?
Ultimately, Bob was just a desire to see what a normal character would turn into if they were thrown into a D&D universe. It's just literally, if you had a scientist who suddenly got chucked into a D&D world, how would they respond? And of course, they would go find the largest bit of knowledge that they could and learn how to survive and to figure out what the hell's going on in this world. And in Bob's case, trying to figure out how the hell to get back. Because, well, this place is great, you know, he's like, got his husband and his life and all that kind of stuff back home, and he'd like to eventually get back there. So Bob was really simple. It was just, what does this look like? What would this take? And what would be like the most interesting thing for a character to be before they got there? Something, and I wanted something that was like, essentially, in a world where astrology is everything, meaning the D&D world, where they don't know astronomy yet, They just know, they know astrology. They know how the stars move and things like that. And to take an actual astrophysicist and be like, no, actually, that star is not a comet. That star is a big ball of gas collapsing in on its own. You know, like there's seeing how that would play in a world where where the science is not up to the point where you can create giant telescopes that look at, you know, galaxies 2 or 3 billion light years away.
Yeah, because I know we talked about a few different character ideas at first, but as soon as that one came up, I was like, yeah, no, that's far too interesting to not go into.
Yeah, I think that Bob, just sort of as a character, I'm really enjoying it because I feel like he's sort of on the second part of his journey, like in joining this group. Like he got cast here, there was the trauma, there was all the confusion of being in a new world, and then he found a bit of equilibrium at the Grand Library. You know, he could surround himself with books, he could learn things, he could teach people things. Like he got into his old rhythm a bit there, and then suddenly is now on this crazy ass adventure with all of these people he doesn't know. And he's trying to figure out what the hell is going on now. And I think it's great because it gives him some familiarity with the world, so it's not the character trope of the person that has no idea what's going on, oh my God, you know, but allows him to still feel a bit like an outsider.
So that was pretty much the majority of the first session, other than setting the scene, exploring the initial world, as it were. We'll move on to session 2, where I think you guys got a little bit of a surprise. Expecting, you know, it's session 2. He's not going to do something crazy like throw a dragon at us, is he?
Yes, he will.
And then a dragon appeared. Hey, we're being raided! Holy shit!
Oh, wow.
Welcome on in, guys.
Oh, hi.
Hey. Oh, hello.
Is the leader of my stream team. For
Amazing.
Player Allies. Welcome,
You are so welcome.
Yay, rolling together.
Muffin's in the chat.
Let me do a shout out thingy
Some
before I forget
bagpipes.
how to do it.
Yeah, we are. It's super delightful. We are talking about the last 8 weeks of this show, so you can catch up in just one episode. You can find out all the delight.
Thank you all so much for joining in. We're just about to get into our second session, covering our second session where the group encountered a dragon at level 3. And in hindsight, absolutely slaughtered it. Which, you know, fair play to you all. Because, I mean, number one, I didn't plan you to be fighting a dragon. I did put it on the list of possibilities, and you guys just rolled for it. So it's technically your fault. But
Wow.
Excuse me?
I mean, it was one of those where, like, you made the roll, and I looked and saw what it meant, and I was like, oh, we can't do that. Or can we? And then I thought, do you know what? No, let's see what happens. And then you guys just, like, I mean, I don't even think the dragon got a turn. Because he was just...
Yeah, because I used Entangle.
We had Entangle, we had the gravity stuff. The dragon
No.
just couldn't do anything.
I slammed it into the deck,
Mhm.
and then
Smocked it, and then
I ate it
and then
back.
Your mom's a bitch!
Veronia
Yeah.
performed some sort of thing on it.
I nibbled that booty.
You did. We learned a lot about Veronia there.
Yeah.
That was only the beginning, lads.
I mean, it was that session that really sort of made me realise what I'd gotten myself into. Because we had all of that. We had the Wild Brew stuff,
Yeah.
which started
baking
off...
session.
Yeah, we had the
bake-off, yeah.
we had the bake off. And going into the following session, we had the Siren encounter, which again,
That was it actually as early as the second session that we had Wild Brew? Really? I
No,
thought it
that was
the third
session 3.
no,
Yeah, it was
so
session 3.
Yeah.
So it was session 2 was the
Yeah.
dragon.
Yeah.
And then session 3 was the wild, was the first, was the bake off.
Session two, I tried to sabotage the baking stuff, didn't I?
Oh, that was session 2. Okay.
Yeah.
So session 2 was the bake off and the dragon. And the introduction of cheesy feet.
that's true. Yeah,
My boy!
That was a thing. The
Session 3
was that the one where who was it? Was it Connell kept trying to hit the dragon and just could not?
Oh yeah, he's just gonna.
yeah.
I hit one guy with the hammer, and it was just like, right, the dragon's next. It was just like, not for happening, chief.
Yeah, I must admit, like, I felt really bad. And then, like, the session after, you got the Wild Magic Surge that would have meant that every attack you hit the dragon for, if you'd got it the session before, would have been a crit. Because it was prone the whole time. And my heart broke for you. But that's the roll of the dice.
It's Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And then then session 3 then was me walking into the assault of the Siren,
Yes.
trying to figure out what the hell was going on in that hallway.
And I called you some nasty names.
You did. It was
True.
very upsetting. Very mean. Very
I
mean.
feel so bad.
But Bob is used to it. Bob had students who he gave Fs to. You know, like, he's used to being called every name in the book. It's fine.
Mentioning cheesy feet, obviously, so far in the campaign, we've had some very interesting NPCs. I would say, does anyone have a favorite? But I know what everyone's gonna say. Like that. Do we even need to ask that question?
Yes, you do, because
Yeah.
mine is not Little Boy.
Is it real? Oh,
Leave.
What's wrong with you?
Leave.
all right.
No.
Here's the first big law drop, guys.
No, I'm with Wyatt. I'm with Wyatt.
Okay.
We all know you love Chester Fetus.
Chesterfield.
Yeah.
Chester Fetus.
Yeah.
That's
Oh boy.
not a very great name.
All right. So those of you who,
That's something the Pat said a few weeks ago, isn't it? Isn't that what you
Chester
called
Fetus, yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty sure you put it in chat, and I was like, yeah, that's canon.
it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Connell listens, guys.
Yeah.
another great name though.
So, those of you who are not in the Brim Small Boy #1 fan club, who's your favorite NPC then?
Okay, so I'm kind of like tied between two. So I don't go off of like, oh yeah, the personality of the character. I'm going off of like, okay, who is Reese relating to more? Who is being most influential on his life, right? And so honestly, my first favorite is Thrasham. And like, I think he's kind of cheesy. Like he's kind of like one of those very kind of like toxic positivity kind of people. And like he's great. But he's had such an effect on Reese. To me it's hard for him to not be a top pick. The other one is the Goddess of the Moon, which obviously I wasn't expecting on meeting any goddess, but having like that NPC creation of this such massive ideological being to Reese it was beautiful and I loved it. That's mine.
Okay. Very, very interesting for me. Connell.
yeah, it kind of sounds a bit copycatish, but like, yeah, Thrashim definitely has like made a really strong impression with me because he was almost set up as Connell's mentor or like someone Connell was to relate and be inspired by. I don't know if I should be saying these words in the past tense since we don't know his fate. But yeah, so I really do like Thrashim. Like again, he's like that big hero, and it's something to aspire to. I do like Cheesy Feet. Beyond it being just like a meme for shits and gigs and to like make everybody else in the party like roll their eyes. So I have like this thing where like characters that are often used for like comic relief, they're hiding something. So like whether there's like you take away that layer of like Chester's, oh, he's silly and goofy now, but like why is he like that? How did he get like that? And then what do you see like in session 26 when Bob is like fighting off like a Yeti all by himself, Chester comes in and he's just like, guys, I'll get you out of here, unleashes his rage and saves us all, and like that's pretty cool. But yeah, but don't take this the wrong way. I do really like Brim. It's just he has to grow on me first.
Oh no!
Now
Brim always remembers.
Every time Connell speaks, all I'm gonna hear is, "Why is he like that?"
No, I mean, I like for me personally, it's a difficult question to answer because my favorite NPC of all time in Rhódania has not been introduced yet, but has been in past campaigns. I'm not actually sure when they will come into the story, or even if they will. I'm very excited at the idea that they might, because it's a very fun character to play, and Brim in some ways is a tribute to that character. So for me, like, Brim does kind of fill that void a little bit, but I'm also very fond of Captain Madeline because she was part of the first campaign, and she was like the first NPC I really enjoyed putting together, which was also interesting because most of the group from the first campaign really disliked her because she was a little promiscuous. But they
had
were
a bunch of prudes.
well, like
dear.
I'd asked them at a session.
Then.
I'd asked them at a session. They were like, I don't know what it is. There's just something about her that irritates me. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I think she's fucking badass.
I love
Thank
her.
you. She is.
Like-
she is
like
a badass
But like
bitch.
when you first introduced her with like doing like the stuff with the crystals and making the fucking sky carver like fly, I was like, this chick is awesome. I love
Yeah.
her. I want to be her. Amazing.
Yeah, Bob definitely wants to spend some more time learning from the captain, like how to fly.
Oh, yeah.
Especially, didn't I fail that check so horrifically?
I think you got like a 2 or something. Yeah.
She was like, "I got this." Like,
Yeah.
it's
She's
fine.
like, you go sit over there. I got this. Thank you.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm curious to see what other NPCs I'm going to pull out of my backside, because that tends to be what happens. And the best ones always are the unplanned ones. It's like what was his name? His name currently escapes me. The guy who you humbled in the jazz lounge.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Which-
Billy Butcher?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
for legal
The
reasons,
guy
not
with
Billy
no,
Butcher.
the guy with no legs or something eventually.
No,
Felony.
I like
Felony.
broke his kneecap or something with gravity.
They made them disappear. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think his leg disappeared and I terrified him. I made him terrified of Bob.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's what it was. And then I did the gravity thing. And
yeah, so you did
Oh,
the
guy.
You did the gravity thing on one of his legs, and then it was like a wild magic surge that made his other leg vanish. So he had a bad day. But like so my intention for him was he was gonna be like an ally, but not one that you'd get on with, and he was going to be really intimidating because he was based on Billy the Butcher from The Boys, and within 30 seconds even, he was completely humbled by you guys, which completely knocked me for 6. I was not expecting it one bit.
I'm like, this is the thing. Like I was fully ready to have my drinking contest, but everyone was just like, Connor, we've got your back. I'm like, wait, what?
Just like, bitch, please.
You know
it
what?
made me so happy.
I'm actually going to change my answer now from Bryn to I had forgotten about the bartender.
Oh, Winston. He didn't forget about you, Bob.
No, I forgot, but I actually got. So I tend to, like, as a DM, like most of the time I tend to stay away from sort of romantic things in the games that I play. And it's just, so it was weird for me. I was like, oh, I actually get to flirt with someone. This will be fun. Great. And so I gotta say, that was lovely, being able to, like, show off, like, a tiny little bit of that side of Bob that is just, like, all nervous and shy, like, around other guys. And they're, like, super good in front of a crowd or in a classroom or something, or in a battle. Totally fine. He's, he keeps his shit dry. But introducing to a cute guy, he's done.
From round about that time, we did get to the Wild Brew, which started off nice and innocent with Veronia getting a turtle shell. That's okay, that's not so bad. And then we had the Siren, which is okay, that's alarming, but we can handle a Siren, that's fine. And then got progressively worse as it went on.
Well, that was the bartending one. That one was the one where Veronia did, like, the world-shattering Wild Brew.
Yep.
Connell helped me, thank you very much.
Connell was making a cocktail.
So was I.
Yeah.
Veronia was making a cocktail as well. It's just,
Yeah. You added a drippy drip of that no juice, and
oh my god, that's what it's called now. No juice.
It definitely wasn't a drippy drip. If I remember correctly, it was like at least a double measure. If I remember correctly. No.
An Irish
I remember. Yeah.
Two drippy drips.
It was not a Rhodanian drippy drip. But yeah, so we went from that to crashing a very expensive, very rare skyship.
Well, first of its kind, right?
The first of its Rhodanian kind, certainly. But obviously that introduced quite a severe tonal shift. We went from chaos and humour to, right, the clock is ticking, this is a skill challenge, everyone's going to die, what are you doing? Like, how did you guys feel about that very sudden change?
I'm all about it.
Me, I was shitting myself. Both, like, I felt like I was very much in character, because I was like, oh god, what have I got left to do? I can't do anything. Oh, pants. Oh no. So that's why I was quite quiet and panicky during that section of it. And also I felt incredibly bad the fact that I basically made it crash. So.
Yeah, there's one of my favorite sayings, because it's so weird and awful. It's just, if you're panicking, it's like shitting very gently into my pants. It's just awful.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the signs of peril. We were all kind of, to me, the ship crashing, we were definitely called to action quicker than the dragon attack, I feel. Like that was something that, oh, we can't take care of this and we might get out of this, but the ship crashing, had we not pulled up our pants and actually done something, like we were rolling characters next week.
Well, that's the thing. When that all started, and you guys were like, what do you think's going on? I'm not sure. Like, I was rolling because I was like, that's about 6 seconds. Okay, another round. That's about... So, like, you were already in unofficial initiative. So by the time you got up there, because you'd had the 2 skill checks to get to the top deck, which didn't go very well.
Well, it was Frank slipping around on the bloody fish, wasn't she? So
Yeah.
Well, who put that fish there?
it was a gift.
Technically, it was a team effort.
So, like, by the time we got to that second one, I was really worried because I was like, they're not going to get up to the top deck in time. And then you made it up, and I did the maths. I was like, okay, so they have enough opportunities to make this work, but not everyone's going to get a go. So I was really nervous, but really excited to see how it was going to go. And then to be given the final roll myself was... I mean, I loved it, but at the same time...
We made 4 out of 5 checks, yeah?
You had 4 checks. You had time for
I think
4
we need
checks.
3 of them. Yeah.
You did 3 of them, and the last one was Reese gave inspiration to Madeline to make the final one, and she was like 2 short of the DC, I think.
Hate to see it.
That was very sad.
Because I had like a whole different document of notes planned for if you'd have saved the ship, and that would have gone on to lead to whole different stuff. But
I mean, I feel like the best next session would have been, okay, your new character comes across this wreckage of a ship. You see Bob. Tell me what you think this person used to do, just based on the broken bottle. Like,
I do think we got the best. Like, it was a horrible situation, you know, this crash and nearly murdering people, but certainly story-wise, it led to the start of what I know some of you have already commented on in the sessions, just so much character development in such a short space of time.
That was the event that really started Reese on his path of like where he is currently now, like both the headspace and his multi-classing, really. Like multi-classing so early on in a session I've really never even heard of, to be honest, unless someone is trying to work the system. And it's like, this is purely out of storytelling because of how significantly Reese was affected by the event, by seeing Thrasham without an arm, by hearing the stories and people talking as he was playing the flute around the fire. Like, hearing all of this really, really, really fucking affected him. So, yeah.
wow. And I really love, as far as storytelling goes, I really love when you get a chance to shift the tone so dramatically and so quickly, where it's because that's what life is, you know, when, like, you don't get weeks of notice when a crisis is about to happen. You don't have time to prepare for it. The crisis happens, and I think it's one of the things that I feel like I don't see enough of in D&D, honestly. When I'm looking at storytelling, is how do you deal with the crisis? Everybody treats everything as though, I won't say everybody. I've seen many situations where people treat a crisis like it's sort of like you're sitting in front of a video game and this is a thing that you have to solve and you'll have 17,000 tries to do it, you know, if you want to. There's not that sort of like heart-pounding moment where you're like, oh shit, oh my God, this is happening to me right now. And I think that is when characters do start solidifying, when you don't have time to think about it, when you just have time to do. And, you find out, for me as a DM, when I get to do those kinds of moments, it's, getting to see what is your go-to spell, what is your go-to move, what is your go-to skill, all that kind of stuff, because that's going to say so much about who you are, and I love it. So thank you for that.
Just glad to be doing it. We have another question in the chat. Thank you, Scarlett. I will add it to the list. So yeah, around about this time over this episode and the couple that follow, as you say, there was the tonal shift. We had character development really beginning. We had the first of Veronia's dream sequences and the Kodama appearing, which was great for me because, like, Veronia, for backstory, was almost completely a blank slate, which at first I was like, oh, I don't know. But then when I sort of realised, actually, no, this is a gift. Just like the Boromir meme, it is a gift. I guess my question around this would be, did you expect Veronia's backstory to come in as early as it did?
Fuck no.
Because there's a bit of insight from me. I didn't plan for it. Like I had the segment planned out, but I didn't know when it was going to come in, and we were just in that session, and I just thought, you know what, actually, fuck it, now's the right time. And we sort of hit the nail on the head straight away, and I was really, really chuffed with how it went. But yeah, it ended up being the right time, which I didn't expect. And
it was quite nice as well.
Props to you for playing it so well as well, and holding it together.
Mate, I was like reacting like, no, like, Jesus. I was not expecting that, because obviously, like, we spoke before, and I was like, I think that it might be best if Veronia doesn't remember where she's come from, especially as I decided my background to be, spoiler, a hermit. The idea I had was that she woke up in, like, it'd been raining, she woke up in the middle of the forest, just kind of looking up in, like, the middle of a grassy area, just by a shack, just not knowing who she was or where she came from, let alone her own name. So in a way, like, yes, okay, yeah, it's a gift for a DM, but it's also such a gift as well, finding out the character in the same time that she would find out as well, which is something that I always really love. I love discovering more about my characters as well, which is, I know it may seem a little bit lazy, but a lot of the time, a lot of my characters, I don't ever write a proper backstory. I write something that's kind of as vague as possible, because then I want the DM to kind of put their own kind of spin on it and creativity into it, but also I want to try and discover the character at the same time. But with this, it was the first time I'd ever done, like, no backstory whatsoever. Yet I'd done a really detailed description of what she looked like, which I never do. But no, yeah, it's, thank you so far, and yeah, I'm still traumatized.
I mean, I go like
in a good way.
I kind of go like, I try and find like the happy medium. So like I write loads of backstory for my characters, like, because I tend to, like everything else I do creative, I hyper focus until I have far too much done and I have to backtrack. But I also make sure at least, like, say if my backstory has like 10 main points on it, I will make sure at least 5 of them are open for DM interpretation, or just like, my character doesn't know about this, have fun with it. So I try and find that happy balance.
I mean, I love those times when you get to like really create a character with someone. It's just, I feel like it's a much richer experience when, like, because when you're in your own head, you only have your own experiences, you know, And when you're working with someone else, they will have reactions that you don't expect. And that forces you to alter the way that your character will respond. And then suddenly, like, things start really getting fleshed out in a beautiful way when that happens. And it's just, yes, absolutely, I agree with you. It's so lovely when that happens. Oh.
I think the closest thing to actually have like any of my characters actually having a backstory is I've got a rogue who basically is, I've made it canonical that she's the daughter of my dad's character, because my own dad, he last played, I've told a couple of you, my dad last played D&D about 35 years ago, and he played an elf rogue thief. So I kind of brought him into like, kind of canonically into like the campaign that we were doing and a couple of one-shots that I brought her into. And in my most recent campaign, which sadly has gone on hiatus, don't know how long it's going to be off for, but I decided that if I wasn't going to be at a session, she was off working a shift at FEX, Credit Guards Extraction Exchange. So like CEX. Because basically my character she never wanted to be a thief in the first place. She wanted to be a bard. But now, like, my dad is wanting to get into D&D, which is really sweet. So I'm going to try and, like, get him into it. Aside from that, I've never really, like, my first ever character, Dara, my dwarf, I was like, yeah, okay, so this happened. And then my other friend who was in the campaign with me was like, yeah, we met each other on the boat over to the main continent. Yeah, it sounds like I'm not doing any homework, but no. I love the idea of just kind of learning as you go, just like you said.
Yeah. What else to cover on these particular episodes?
Wait, so where are we in the episode? So we're after the crash, right? Like, pull this shit back together.
Yeah, so we've had all that with the crash. The ship's been repaired, and you had a uneventful rest of the journey back to Roshan's Rise, and began your investigation into the evil that was there, the Dancer of Shadows.
And then we got massive lore dumps.
He did.
About Roshan's Rise, the royalty, what used to be here.
The Moon Goddess, was that the same episode? The Moon Goddess was released?
Yeah, around about those episodes, yeah. So there was, I think there was 3.
So I do kind of want to talk about our descent to Roshan Rise the night before.
Okay.
Where Reese and Bob had that really sweet moment.
Yeah.
Like that was really good. That was there's 3 main points that convinced Reese of his action to kind of depend on the goddess for help and for a more magical means of becoming a cleric, and that was one of them. Like, that talk with Bob was one of those moments.
Yeah, it's something that I really love doing in D&D are the moments where, like, I love the moments where somebody cries or when there's a lot of laughter, but then for me, it's always like, if I'm watching a movie, it's always the most powerful moment, the one that's just very quiet and simple. And you're just speaking to the truth because all of the other barriers, for whatever reason, have fallen away in that moment. That it's just, and it's so special because that moment cannot last, because people will always bring their defense mechanisms back. They will always bring reality back after a time. But for whatever reason, there's that moment that just sits there where everyone can be honest with each other and with themselves, which is the thing that in reality we're missing most of the time, you know? And just getting to have those moments occasionally, and you can't do them every episode because it would like they would just completely lose their flavor. But randomly and occasionally having that moment of simplicity and honesty is just, I think, gorgeous. So yeah, I love that too. That was so, it was so delightful.
That's good. It was really good.
Kind of stemming off from that as well. Connell and Frone's moment when we were in the crash site. Again, like me and Maya, I think we played that really well. Where like, because I know from chatting with her throughout the week, she was really feeling bad about blowing up the ship and the ship crashing and stuff, and it's just like, realistically, the only casualty we had was Thrashim losing an arm. That sucks, but largely no one died, and that's a freaking miracle. So yeah, like we really pulled together, and yeah, just I think just whatever moments I've did art for through the past 8 weeks, those are maybe because like they've stood out enough for me to want to do art of it. Like those, like especially like Bob and Reese's talk, like because I was drawing it, I had to go back several times and I had to make sure I videoed Bob or Kyle on exactly what he said. So for a couple of weeks, I had a video of Kyle's little piece of dialogue recorded just so I could make sure I got the exact line. But no, yeah, going on from what Kyle said, like those moments are incredibly important, especially in solidifying characters and just establishing like they're not so happy side. Like everybody's got like baggage and it's exploring like those areas.
Yeah, I can't really add anything to that. Like, I completely agree with everything. So, we had the lore dumps, we had the emotional moments, we found out about a princess, we met a very small boy and a goddess of the moon.
Yeah.
And then it was wisdom saves and dancing with a dancer. First thing I would really like to mention is that though it didn't work, I loved the idea of setting the trap and going to get the snare spell and setting it up and using the protection of good and evil. I really wanted it to work, but the way that it was set up, it was just in the wrong place. Because when you said you were setting it down, I had to keep poker face, and I'm just like, oh, don't do it yet, don't do it yet, don't do it yet. Oh, because that would have worked. It would have worked really well.
Well, honestly, I'm glad that it didn't, because I feel like we trounced everyone in that combat anyway. So if they had already been caught, I feel like the episode would have lasted about half an hour. You know?
Can I tell you a secret? Whilst that was happening, I honestly thought that was us just like talking about it and testing it. We weren't actually doing it. They were like, oh yeah, we'll do that.
I mean, that tracks for Veronia.
To do in a way.
Definitely. Just, you know, method
In
acting.
Veronia style.
Yeah. How did you find the actual fight? Because that was our first one. That was our first boss encounter.
Okay, so the minis, I love it. Oh my god, I love
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
it. Congratulations.
That's for Patch.
Still buzzing off from it. Like seriously, mate. Like well done. Just.
It is just a particular thing of mine. Like, I like virtual tabletops. I like using them as a player. As a DM, I cannot stand them. I can't figure them out, and it winds me up. So, and just like I like using real dice. I just, when I was setting up the first campaign, I was like, why don't I just use real minis? And I started off with, I think I've still got them. Hang on. I started off with just little cards with character art on them, which actually was done by Pattoons, if it'll focus.
Yay!
Is it going to focus? There we go. That was one of the characters
yeah.
from campaign 1,
Aw.
and that's what I used to use.
I could draw him so much better now.
Because I was so insistent, and like the players were like, just use Roll20. Like, you know, we've got Roll20. So I was like, no. And then he's like, oh, but what about Foundry? Foundry's come out. Foundry's brilliant. It's like, it's all right as a player. I don't like it as a DM. But you know, it does allow me to be able to paint all the minis and, you know, start looking for a bigger house to store all my minis and all my dice.
Jesus.
But it's like I'd said at the end of that last episode, just being able to reveal that map and the minis and everything set up, and seeing you guys be like, you know, that's why I do it, because it is such a good feeling that you get the same excitement that I do. Because I spent ages. I always spent ages putting these maps. I'm like, no, it's got to be right. It's got to be right, and then getting the camera angle right. It's got to look perfect.
The reveal though was epic.
Yeah,
I
I
loved
appreciate
it.
that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I had to use a fedora to unmask it. You know, but, you
Be
know,
more classy.
Your fedora reveal. Okay.
I mean, come on, it's gonna be
Oh,
done.
how toxic of you.
I don't love you anymore. We're done now.
The lady.
But I mean, like, it's because it's interesting, because obviously, like, it's very expensive to do all that, and I have no budget. I have absolutely zero budget for this. But we make it work, and you know what? I think it's better for it. It would be fine to use something like Tailspire or Foundry and have all these amazing, like, plugins and ways to do it, and have Fog of War and stuff like that. Like, but if you're all sat around a table, you don't have that. So how do you do it if you're all sat around a table? And I think it's like, if I could, I'd have this campaign in person, because it would be incredible. Maybe someday, hopefully.
Right.
I would.
Finish
I
with
would-
nose crossed.
If all you out there want to help fund us to get us all to the same place for a weekend,
Hi, I'm Pattons, also known as Patrick, and this is my Kickstarter for us to meet and play D&D in real life.
I feel like we should just call D&D in a castle and be like, we want one room for Rhódania. Like, that's
Yep.
it.
yo, that would be so cool.
So
I need a
Well-
passport.
on that subject,
Why?
I was talking to my better half, Talia, who is in the chat. I think she's still in the chat. She might have fallen asleep. I was talking to her about it, and she did mention, like, oh no, there's some castles like you can, like, Airbnb. And I was like, oh, well then.
We have
There
talked
she
about
is.
this before.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll put a pin in it. Maybe
And at that point in
2023.
time, I might have, you know, a legit camera, because I'm going to be upgrading my set for TikTok and whatnot. So you'll have yours, I'll have mine. We could, you know, maybe just get one more, and we have the 3 films, and yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually, you know, I have schematics for that kind of setup, which I've had since the last campaign. Like, I designed it, so we can do that.
So down.
Oh my god. I am just IRL gonna find a beautiful man in a kilt. If we go to Scotland, I will be so happy.
Same.
Come to my motherland. Come.
So this is our second Kickstarter to help us find some beautiful ginger men in kilts.
Yep.
QuestJunkiesUK in a castle
Kickstarter
when
Find Kyle and Wyatt, Scottish husband. There you go.
Yes.
Done.
absolutely.
Not the
We'll get some
same.
citizenship going.
No.
We'll all just be over there now. Like,
Yep.
And I'll just be in a bar drinking a pint somewhere. Be like, carry on, fellas.
I so want to do D&D. Like, I've had a few opportunities to, like, play D&D in actual bars instead of in like game stores, and it's so lovely because everyone stops by and like, what are you doing? And I'm like, come on, it's super fun. Like, we're being weird and imaginary.
I think I would hate having like just just knowing the kind of people we have here in Derry, I would hate people just wandering over and be like, "Here, lad, what are you doing? What are you lads playing over here?" Peering over your shoulder, and then you have to be like,
Make
well,
the ladder, pal.
"Yeah, we're playing Monopoly."
Oh yeah, Disney, you're playing fucking Subutio.
You ever watch Lord of the Rings? We're doing that, but with like dice and stuff.
Yeah, I would just straight up look at them and just like, you're not good enough to be at our table. Go away.
Oh dear. So, reeling us back in to that final encounter. Yeah, I expected it to be a whole damn side closer than it was. Again, you guys, I think I particularly loved the use of combination attacks, the teamwork, which is brilliant, and I want to see more of that. I love it when you get creative. It's one of the reasons why I got you guys all together, because I knew that would happen. So yeah, like, you know, the gravity assisted extra large suplex into the other thing. It's like, this is, you know, like, mechanically this might not work as they intend, but it's too cool to not let it happen. Like,
I love you, and I really have to thank you for like letting me do that like fucking bullshit suplex combo last week, where I was just like, right, can I do this? And you're like, right, if you do it this way, and if you give me this roll, you do it. I'm like, yeah.
You know,
I mean,
I just want to say how very Abria Iyengar of you.
well,
Like, that is some stuff that she would pull, and it's great.
I mean, it's just, look, if you come to me and be like, hey, this isn't technically allowed if you go rules as written, but it's cool as fuck, and I love it, I think you'll love it, I want to do this, I will probably be like, okay. Like, that, so externally I'll be, okay. And internally I'm like, oh my god, that's so epic, yes please.
Yeah, we actually codified it on our channel where it's like, you can actually, the audience can give a combo move to another player. And the rules are, you, without using up their action, you get to use one of a player's actions on your turn with you in some fun combination. And oh my god, just like things being torn in half, like just insane, like ripping a dragon's wings off, and like just, you know, just all the fun stuff that you get to do with that. It's just, it's so much fun. And for me, that's like the whole point of the game part of combat is really, what could you do? Like, if this was real life, like if you were here in this moment and it wasn't just all about your character sheet, what would you actually do with these abilities that you have? And that's when you get such delightful storytelling. Oh my god.
Because it's like, for me, so something that hasn't come up in the campaign yet, but I have discussed with you guys, there is a, you know, for those of you at home, I do have a homebrew ruling for Rhódania around when someone has failed all of their death saves. So first of all, I roll their death saves, so they don't know if they've succeeded or not, which obviously gives the players more of an urgency to assist their fallen comrade, which makes for more gripping encounters. But if they fail all three, I have a homebrewed thing where they get one dying action. So rather than just failing the death save and then they're dead, they fail their death save, they have 6 seconds of consciousness left before they die, and they have a limited action where they can do something as like a last stand. Now they can't get up from being prone, they can cast spells or make attacks, but they cannot do anything that will heal themselves. So their fate is sealed. They're going to die. But why shouldn't they be able to just get one last spell off or one last attack? It could be the thing that wins the fight. That's not rules as written. That's not how things go. But
Gets one last suplex.
Suplex might be a bit much. You might get one last cat eat, maybe.
I'll take it. As the cat returns to the table.
Absolutely. I think that's...
I honestly, in the final fight, I felt a little bad that I had... Because outside of chat, on a private Discord message, I had said I want to do a perception check. I want to see what's happening, because Bob is a thinker, Bob is a planner. So he wants to see what this battle is going to look like, play the chess game in his head, and then do the things necessary to win the fight, right? And in a private DM, Patch was like, so with that perception roll, you suddenly realize that 2 of these things are just delusions and they don't actually exist. And I was like, shit, I sort of wish that I hadn't known that, because then we could have spent all this time trying to kill the illusions and nothing could have happened, And I'm like, but Bob now has his information and he absolutely knows that he has to help his friends. So that was great. I love having side conversations that other people aren't privy to, and then you bring that into the full viewed space, and I was like, what the fuck?
I mean, it's something that I've very rarely had chance to do in past campaigns. So I would, because I was just gonna say it out loud, but then I thought, actually no. I'm gonna DM this privately, because it's an interesting bit of information, and it would be more interesting to see whether or not it's just immediately blurted out to everybody, or if he just keeps it to himself for now.
Well, I feel like Bob would have been such an asshole if he'd been like, they're fighting illusions.
But yeah. Anything else anyone wants to bring up about that encounter?
I mean, one more thing. The fact that you had a bigger bad waiting in the wings that literally did not get a single action off. They got killed before it could do anything at all. And we still lost with 1 friggin' hit point, the damn dancer.
I do kind of like for me, at that point, I kind of felt like, because I was a bit conflicted, because I was like, maybe I should fudge its HP and give it a bit more, because it hasn't even done anything yet. But then I thought, no, actually, I've seen Brennan Lee Mulligan do shit like this, where it's just like, I am here to enslave you, and blah, blah, and then he's instantly dead. It's they've earned it, because again, my number 1 goal for you guys was to outthink me, and that is what you keep doing. So please keep doing it.
Yeah,
I'm just pleased to have turned myself into a magical girl. That's all I'm happy about. That's
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love that.
I mean, I certainly wasn't expecting that little bit of flourish. I was expecting your skin would turn into stars and things like that, and then I was thinking, oh my god, Bob's gonna be obsessed with this.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so excited about the whole constellation thing now. And this is, I meant to bring this up last week, but hey Patch, how would you feel if I created some spells centered on empowering Veronia when she's in her constellation form?
We can absolutely have a discussion about that.
Sorry.
Yeah, I would love that. Depending on which Sailor Moon you're being, what planet you choose, there'll be different things.
brings me so much joy. You have no idea.
No, we can definitely talk about that. Okay, so that's probably a good point for us to jump to some audience questions, because we have quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go through the list as I have it in order. So it's probably going to be a bit back and forth. And some stuff we might have already covered, but we can expand on it a bit more if we have.
Yeah.
So, first bunch of questions are for everybody. So you can just pitch in as you see fit. First question from Pat is, what's the inspiration for each character? So we've kind of covered that to some extent, but is there any like particular? It's like one character that I had actually for Pat, which we could maybe go with instead. For Connell specifically, I get a lot of, we've talked about before, anime protagonist vibes, which you've also gone into briefly. Like, is there a particular anime protagonist that stands out as an inspiration for Connell? Because I have my own ideas, but I want to see if we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like I do kind of like, I was thinking on the car ride home, thinking about like this one in particular. It's just like my first character was very clearly based on like Dragon Ball. My druid is very based on like Luffy from One Piece, but I think Connell, especially with how his backstory is written, is based on Deku from My Hero Academia.
Yes.
It's just the vibe. Obviously he's not personality one for one, but goals are kind of there. And I can't remember what session it was, but I also made the realization that Connell's color scheme was the same as Gaston from Beauty and the Beast.
Nice.
It is.
Total accident.
Oh my god.
Total accident,
Yeah.
but like, I mean, no one swings like Connell.
Hmm?
No
one
suplexes
yeets like Connell?
No one fights like Connell. No one fights like Connell.
I mean, that's great, because I was thinking the same thing, and the whole reason why Thrash exists is because I had that thought and thought, you need an All Might.
Yeah.
And that's where Thrasham came in. So, I'm quite glad of that. Next question from Kyle for everybody. If you had to switch classes next session, what class would you choose? You don't mean multi-classing. I mean if you had to scrap the original class and start over from scratch.
But keeping our original, or the character.
Yeah.
I like the idea of properly diving into because I multi-classed it with my last character. I didn't really get to go into it very much. I would love to see Veronia as like a fucking badass blood hunter, like blood rituals and everything that go really dark like that. That's probably what I would choose.
But with the exact same personality.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like Bob. I would want to go with something completely different, because it would be really easy to say, I want to be a sorcerer instead of a wizard like theirs. But I think for Bob, it would actually be something like a monk, where instead of studying the stars, he's now studying like all of human physiology, instead. And he literally, like, he doesn't like jump around in a fight, just sort of very calmly walks up to people, just goes poke, 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 and then they fall down.
Oh,
That just,
what's that film franchise with Buddy? It's like the English gentleman. No, the English gentleman that's like kicks the shit out of people.
Transporter?
No,
Kingsman?
Yeah.
Oh.
Bob as part of the Kingsman. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah?
Oh,
Hell yeah.
Just with an umbrella, I would absolutely be Colin Firth. Absolutely. So classy and just kicking the shit out of everyone without breaking a sweat and just smiling the whole time. And you would still get Bob talks because he's constantly lecturing the people about what they did wrong in the fight. You could have done this, but you did not. And that's why you were on the floor now.
Amazing. Everyone else?
I honestly would legit like to have Reese be Rogue. If I'm to completely reclass him, it would be Rogue. Because like where he grew up, and also, and this like kind of answers Pat's question from earlier, I don't do inspiration. I create from a character ground up. I just go ham into like, who is this character? I don't want any outside inspirations. This character is going to be 100% original. And so with Reese being from this crazy ass town that is like functionally should not be there and is literally built into the sides of a ravine with bridges that like just go everywhere as roads. It's crazy. They hide in the mist. Their thing is like they hide in the mist that is created by the waterfall and the misty ravines that are there. And so I really want to see him follow kind of that path of like, oh yeah, I actually followed the path of my mother and father instead of the path of who my mentor was, and really would delve into how to be a sneaky sneak and to like be able to blend into the mist, not exactly the shadows, but the mist and the environment around him and what that would look like. So that's probably what I would reclass.
That's your next multiclass then.
Bard, cleric, rogue.
Yep.
Yeah.
Would a cleric rogue get sneak attack damage on their spiritual weapon?
Spiritual weapon.
Why not?
Well, if we're gonna go rules as written about this,
Well, actually,
I mean, to be fair, I will actually point this out because this is just like a personal thing that irks me about like when DMs go really rules as written. If you had a multi-class, like if you were a barbarian rogue, for example, and you got a crit with your barbarian weapon, rules as written, you cannot add sneak attack damage even if it is a surprise round or something like that. I would allow it, but like rules as written, it has to be a dex-based attack to get sneak attack. But I don't think that's fair.
Oh, and spiritual weapons are a wisdom-based attack. Okay, I see what you're going for.
So I mean, like it. I'm more lenient than most.
I mean, for me, it's like from the storytelling perspective, if you started as a rogue and you multi-class to cleric, and you're like, I would absolutely let you have your spiritual weapon be something that looks completely innocuous, and then just suddenly flies 30 feet and stabs someone in the neck. And I'm like, absolutely sneak attack for that. No one saw that coming. Like,
see if it comes up.
Well, I'm just gonna kill Bob and make a new character just so that I can have sneak attack my spiritual weapon. That's it.
Please don't. I like Bob. I already cried 2 sessions ago. I don't need this.
All right.
I had the idea of a warlock with an undead patron pact because I imagine from a distance, Frag must already look like she has form of dread, but I think the extra like terrifying feats, and especially at later levels, I think would still fit in with the Shatterkai aesthetic. Yeah.
I kind of love that. You give me ideas. You give me ideas.
Yeah, I honestly love, as a DM, I love when people play warlocks because then as the DM, you get to play their patron. It's so
As a DM, that is my favorite thing. And it's like, Oh, so great. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. I'm like, and like for me, my favorite thing is when you get to play a patron or like somebody who's in control, you get to play it just like Mr. Burns. You've fallen into my trap. It's
It is.
release the hounds.
Connell?
I don't know. It's kind of tough. But like, just like sit and listen to everyone else's. Like with Connell's whole thing of, like he's trying to go on adventure so he can like get money to send back to his mom. Like that's the whole thing. So that's an avenue he's going down. So that's where the fighter aspect comes in. But like, I think Paladin would work really well.
I was gonna say Paladin.
Yeah, like I was thinking like Sorcerer would be cool if he was able to get in some like earth magic and like do all that cool shit. But I don't know. Paladin, like I wouldn't exactly know what subclass or anything like. But yeah, just like he's all about protecting and stuff, and I guess he would still be able to use the same weapons and stuff. It's, I don't know. I like the question. I just need more time to think about it.
No worries. Next, we have a couple of questions from the ever lovely Scarlet Song. Thank you, Scarlet, for your lovely questions. The first one: if you drank the Wild Magic Brew, what creature would you have liked to summon for 1 minute instead of the Siren?
I know. I would love to do, because that was happening right around the time that the trailer came out for the D&D movie, and everybody was bitching about the fact that the druid turned into an owlbear. It's just an owlbear.
Yeah.
To be like,
I was gonna say owlbear.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I want to go up and snuggle it. But yeah.
Even though they're
I'm
notoriously
sorry.
like mean.
I was so pissed off at that whole conversation that like I actually created a druid subclass that allows you to turn into that, and then made 4 more that allow you to turn into whatever the fuck you want. Like, because it's a game we're all playing, but calm it down. Calm.
Anyone else?
Considering this was before the time of Small Boy, I think Frike would have wanted to summon perhaps like a small shadow demon that she could train to become an emotional support animal for her, so she
Emotional
could come out
support
of her
demon.
shell more.
Oh, that would be such a fun NPC to play. Listen, Frank, you gotta talk about your feelings more, you know? That's what I gotta do, you
A
see.
shadow demon that becomes a cab driver immediately.
It's just Danny DeVito.
Oh my god.
Would you like an egg at this trying time?
Anyway, I think I would like a I know like a black pudding just to like appear. It just summons and then it just like slowly starts dissolving through the floor, and then like every turn it just goes plop, plop, and then eventually dissolves through the hull of the ship.
That's a waste of a black pudding, though.
It's not that kind of black pudding. It's
Yeah,
like
you won't want to eat this kind of black pudding. I mean, I don't want to eat either, but you know, that's just me.
Like a poo.
It's an ooze.
Yeah, it's like a-
technically an ooze.
Oh,
it's like a black
puddings,
on
you
the
got
ship.
puddings, oozes, and
making
slimes
poo.
are all oozes.
Have you ever seen Flubber?
Yes, I have.
Flubber.
Anyone
Oh,
else?
God. Well, I've already said owlbears. So.
Anything but the Siren, to be honest. Like, Reese was I can say that Reese was one. He felt terrible.
So you would
I'm
have been happy
so
with like a
confused.
gelatinous cube then?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been fun. I was during that whole fight. I was so confused because I don't know if I had like gone to get something to drink or something, or just zoned out or something when we were talking about it getting summoned. Because I was convinced, Kyle, was convinced that it was actually part of the crew. And I was like, why are you hurting this poor crew member?
That explains
you
so
know-
much.
Oh,
Why are you hurting this woman?
Amazing.
Steve.
I did not know that.
Now I want to be Wyatt's devil's advocate. Instead of summoning a naked fish lady, I want to summon a naked cockroach, just so it's just like, ah!
Oh, I love it.
I
love
could get down with an Aarakocra, but like,
Oh god.
terrible scene. Oh god.
And the next question from Scarlett. What is the best drink to pair with a muffin?
Ooh.
Depends on the muffin.
Slams Iron Brew onto the table.
Are they going to be sponsored? Is that what's happening now?
I wish.
I mean, so for me, my go-to is a nice cup of Yorkshire tea. Which, I mean, that's my answer for 90% of things. But you know, it always works. So that's what I go with.
I feel like for me it's like a mimosa because that's a morning drink that you have with your muffin.
Mimosa and muffin. I like
Yeah.
that.
Well, and the citrus kind of helps with the that
That's the
little bit of
sweetness.
phlegm that comes with it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
What kind of fucking muffins are you guys eating?
The good kind.
America ones. The American
I'll
ones are
explain
way
to you
too sugary.
things then.
700% as much gluten as the ones that you eat in Europe.
Yep.
Gluten and sugar.
I mean, technically, we're not in Europe anymore, so
Oh, that's right.
yeah.
I
That's,
forgot.
Brexit.
let's not open that door.
And I'm on like a tug of war. Why is mommy and daddy fighting?
And I'm the kid that just wants to leave home already but can't.
Pretty much.
Let's see. If I'm going to like count a muffin as a breakfast item, I don't know. I would probably do like and if it was a weekend, I'd do like tea with a little bit of brandy in it because I don't want to be remembering the weekends right now. No, I'm kidding. No, just like it's a relaxing thing, you know.
It's a
Have
hot
like a little
toddy.
Yeah, exactly. Have a hot toddy, you know, put in a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of splashes, citrus flavoring.
You mull that wine, honey. You do it.
Listen. It is getting to that
About
season.
The goddamn holidays. I got my cheesecloth and my cinnamon sticks and my cloves. You know me. You know my life.
I made mulled mead last year,
Ooh.
and that was delightful. So I recommend that highly, especially because it is getting to that season. So
Yeah, it's time.
I'm just glad I can wear my cardigan again. So happy.
I need one.
Yep.
I love that word.
Woody.
It is cardigan. It's such a classy way to say it. You know?
It is a classy thing.
I need to get myself more cardigans as well.
You do.
I don't.
Cardigans
have
change your life. They really do.
I'm the jumper and cardigan queen, I am. I
Ah,
love them.
They're sadly in Southern Hemisphere. I'm sorry, Scarlett.
Oh, Scarlet.
Oh,
Aww. One day. One
Yes.
day, though.
When I eat muffins, I drink water like a slut, so
I mean, same.
Oh.
bunch of hoes.
but if I had a like perfect scenario, I guess a hot chocolate. Because I don't drink tea or coffee.
Hot choc, all is good.
Even don't drink coffee. What's wrong with you?
I'm fucking epic, that's what.
Excuse me.
Wow. Okay, and the reunion episode has started now. I definitely told my Discord, I'm like, somebody's gonna throw some wine at someone tonight. Someone's gonna flip a table. Like, it'll probably be me.
I had a thought, because I used to get, actually, it was a few holidays ago now, but I had beignets with apple cider. I was thinking some kind of apple drink, although I agree with Wyatt's sentiment that it depends on the kind of muffin, but I think apple cider, apple juice, really, that would be nice.
Cloudy apple juice. Cloudy apple juice is always a good shout.
Hell yeah. I can go with that.
With like a cinnamon muffin. Yeah.
Apple cinnamon.
So
Yeah.
I forget who in our audience said this because they have said it multiple times in our chat, but I think we do need to develop a muffin cookbook.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's something we could definitely work on.
Definitely. Do it. Have an ebook.
I mean, on that subject, Muffin Men. Is that the name of the group?
I feel like it has to be at this point.
Yeah.
We have Muffin March, so.
I mean, do you? I mean, if
Yeah.
you want to make that canon here and now, we can do, and I can
See-
go ahead with that.
See, this is the thing I want to ask now. So, Bob and I weren't present for the muffin discussion, if I remember session one right. So, like,
That's
we have no connection to that. It's you
It's
three.
true.
We need to have
We
another
do
muffin
have
moment.
we do have connections though to all of the other times that muffins have ruined our lives. So,
True.
A muffin killed my father.
It's like I've
Oh.
said to you. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Oh no, but I was gonna say Grim brought up another question earlier. If Reese and Veronia had fought over a different pastry, how would that have affected the outcome of the
Oh,
campaign?
yeah.
Croissant, that's the thing. An apple turnover. You know?
Okay, but we did kind
to
of
turn
fight
over trumpets.
There was a croissant situation, wasn't there? A croissant or
in the baking episode is a scone. Sorry, a scone.
gone. Good boy.
Quick save.
Yes, mommy.
Oh, hello.
You don't want the
I love you guys.
My God.
You can tell I get real sassy.
I like you.
Anyway, the Witter scones that we fought over in episode 2 or 3 during the baking episode.
It could be the scandal scones.
Scandal scones and the Muffin Men.
Scandal scones, Muffin
Yeah.
Men after dark.
I've just
gluten groupies.
The baking bitches.
The baking biddies.
I was just I've said this to the players like out of session, but I just love the idea of like maybe next session when they return to the village and the elders are like, "Oh, you have saved us. We shall tell stories and sing songs of your triumphant efforts. What shall we call you?" And it's like, "The Muffin Men." And they're like,
The Muffin Men. The Muffin Men.
I think that our group should just now be called That One Skank, because then every time somebody refers to us, we're like, "Who did that? That one skank." You
It
know.
could be any of us.
I did say that exact line in the interview. Yes, actually, quick chance to plug. I'm going to be on Scarlett's podcast next week. I believe it comes out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I love it.
That'll
you
be
get
fun.
a little bit of insight into stuff that we haven't talked about here. No spoilers for you guys. Yes, this Thursday.
This
And I do
Thursday.
believe that in a few weeks' time we will also be hearing from another person on this call. on that podcast.
Yeah, you will.
A certain Mr. Moonkeep. I'm very excited.
Yes, I will be on. Super excited doing my recording with her on the 2nd.
That's awesome.
I can't wait. All right, moving on. We've got lots of questions still to go through. So, we have some questions from Grim now. First one. Who's your favourite party member that isn't you?
Oh, this question. Oh, that's dangerous.
It is. This is where we draw our alliances now.
Who
You
is?
include Brim as a party member now.
Okay, hold on. I
That's a
need you.
cop-out answer, mine.
True.
Yeah, Brim's not allowed.
Could you repeat the question? I was looking up the Latin term for muffin men and got sidetracked.
Oh shit, that's such a good idea. Okay.
Yeah, muffin in Latin does not exist, so
Okay.
I was doing
Big bread.
and it was a pasteri hominum or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can you just imagine like the songs they would sing? Pasteri hominum.
I mean-
don't know.
I really like that.
Yeah.
Let's come back to that out of stream. I like that. Let's
Sounds
maybe
lovely.
going down that route is a good idea. But yeah, so the question
I'm
was.
curious. That's actually something that I do when I can't figure out a name for a place or something like that. I'll be like, what is the essence of this place? And then I'll pick a different language and just like pull it from that. And there's like my elemental city in my setting, it's like they all hate each other. They're like all 4 quadrants of the city because they're different elements, just like they're just snipping at each other all the time. And so they're just bad neighbors. And so I took the Arabian word for bad neighbors, which is Jarsai, and then made that. I was like, this is Jarsai. They all can't stand each other, and they wanted to make that known. Like,
Good DM tip there for you.
I like using
So-
the IKEA method. You like go on IKEA's homepage, you like roll a d12, and then you go into that section, and then you roll the next one, you go into that section, and then after a stage, you end up having a character from the place of Ingifara, which is
Yeah.
probably some wooden desk.
Ah,
Oh god, I love it. So the question was, who is your
No.
favorite character? Who's your
Everyone's
favorite party
avoiding this
member
Question.
that isn't you?
That isn't me. Let me answer this. Maybe. I like Bob, to be honest. Bob is one of my favorites because of one, just the vast amount of knowledge that Kyle has to be able to fill Bob's shoes is great. And I love it. But Bob is and foremost a teacher, and that to me and to Reese is what Reese needs, is a teacher and someone to like help. And so that by far, absolutely, Bob is my favorite. Now I'll throw in my second is Connell.
Oh wow.
But
well, I don't know Connell now. It's been thrown to you, Connell. Like there.
Oh, so I guess I'm going next. Shit. Oh man, it's really tough. I guess this is going to be a tennis match because I do really like Bruce's character. The way, like, I get chills every time Wyatt has like a little alone time, and like they do. It's just like really inspiring stuff to see how Wyatt plays the character, and I've told him this multiple times off stream. It's just, you can tell he's going places with his acting career. And the whole avenue of going to become a cleric now. Cleric was my first character race, so I'm a huge fan. I can't wait to see where he goes. And if I have to go, Second favorite would have to be Veronia, just for all the crazy antics and stuff. That doesn't mean I still really like Bob and Frank. It's just the question.
I mean, you're dead to me, but fine. Yeah.
I mean, like the potential for combo attacks with Frank and Bob are already exponentially higher. So like, you guys are on a different tier.
Yeah. You're my best friend, and I know I'm not yours, and that's okay.
Fuck you, Grim. This is a hard question. Why do you have to make me answer this?
Oh, we might be having that battle royale yet. Grim is going to be in our mini campaign.
Yes.
So there had been mention of a Rhódania versus Demethrin battle royale. Well, maybe the battle lines have been drawn.
The Muffin Man versus Grim.
I mean, I'll straight up Thanos you and drop a moon on it. Okay.
Moon.
Okay,
I'll
next.
swing my sword.
I'll say Connell because he's the first person besides Reese that has gone to the mat and with the mat with Frank. And I think she likes that he's got a lot of layers. And then I'll say Veronia because it's meeting her is the first time Frank ever imagined what it would be like to have a little sister.
Oh.
Adorable.
Cute. See, my favorite's kind of like swapped about since our first session. Because originally the first few sessions I was like, oh man, I totally love Reese. Reese is amazing. Mostly because of like the kind of frenemy, almost sabotagey, but also kind of like, hey, we're pals situation, especially with like cuddling up, in the wee nook, in like the bunk and everything. And then I also really like Frank as well because of like the badass, like the fact that you're quite closed off and we don't really know much about you because you're quite mysterious. But, and this is gonna make his head even bigger, Connell's my fave.
What? Why is Connell everybody's favorite?
He's the shonen protagonist, clearly.
Yeah.
He's the how do I want to put it? The golden retriever good boy.
Don't worry, I still love Bob, but in a more like a frenemy way, definitely. But yeah, Connell's my fave. I'll leave you out, Kyle. I'm sorry, I felt bad.
It's totally, honey, I am not so delicate that if everyone doesn't say you're my favorite, then I will be broken. I think it is important to honor the truth that everybody gives and not to take it. It's just that whole thing. I understand it. And I think
it's because all of you
really
guys
important.
have like such different takes on your characters, which I find really interesting. Like you're not all like just the samey or like a stereotypical, cleric, rogue, fighter, anything like that. You all play your characters so differently, and it's like it's hard to choose. Plus, I'm an incredibly indecisive person as well, so.
And Kyle, let it be known. Whenever I'm talking to my friends about this, I'd be like, yo, like our gravity wizard did some fucking weird ass shit. I don't even know if it's an actual spell in the game. He just made
Nobody knows.
But yeah,
you know what? It's physics.
Yeah.
No, I think so. For me, I think my favorites are for completely different reasons. Are actually Veronia and Reese. From Bob's perspective, it's like Reese is that student in the class that is like they're definitely like top of the class, but like there's something holding them back, and Bob's like, I want to just give you that little extra push to like get you to those heights. And Veronia is the kid who like, you know, is trying to smoke a cigarette in the classroom, you know, like, who I know there's some weird shit happening at home, and I really want to be there for you and turn you around. Want to turn that life around, honey.
I'm the trouble child.
All right, so we're gonna try and quick fire these last questions because we got to wrap up shortly. So we've done that one. Favorite moment of the campaign so far?
Ooh.
Oh. The fight, last session's fight, definitely.
Yeah, for me, it's between two. It is either the conversation with Rhys and the combo move with Connell. Like those two, just that sort of the freedom to just do the thing was just delightful in both of those situations, and absolutely adored it.
For me, I would have to say I'm kind of torn in three moments. One, I loved the boss fight last week, phenomenal. Just everybody showing off what like their best peak performance. The ship crash, everybody got to show off how they handled like a major tragedy, and we all pulled up our socks and got shit done. And then lastly, Connell fighting with Frike and then Bob. Two like a big fucking spectrum, and yeah. Fun times.
Cheesy feet hugged me.
Oh, that's a fourth. Cheesy feet hugging Veronia.
The unscheduled performances of our band.
Yes.
Yeah, that was fun.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. I have to say, okay, so I'm kind of torn between two. They happened in the same session, though. The talk with Bob and the Moon absolutely was great. And then two, when I came in, I think it was after that or maybe a night before that, and Veronia was curled up in the corner, and I put her on the bed, and then I did my like little writing down, is the act of like how I wrote down the actual letter. So I have the letter that Rhys wrote in his journal written out, and I think that was my favorite moment, to be honest. Is like the little itty bitty like, oh yeah, and Rhys writes in a journal, tears out the page, puts it back in, and like puts on his nightstand, was what got me the most. I'm like, why is this my favorite part? But it was the little silent moment. It really was.
Stuff like that.
I should probably also say that the second lower dump for me, finding out princess mode. Like, yeah. If we're going to say more than one, then that as well.
Okay. Next question from Pat. What would your character's favorite movie be?
I got one.
A Beautiful Place.
Jennifer's Body.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Hell yeah.
I think, what was the one that was all about the guy that broke the Nazi code in World War II?
Oh,
Turing.
Turing test.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the movie, but it's the one that's all about Alan Turing.
Yeah.
That would absolutely be his favorite.
Imitation of Life?
Imitation Game.
Imitation Game.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was just scientist saving the fucking world, and then everybody being an asshole to him for the rest of his life. Like,
Everyone else?
I think either. Yeah, fuck it, Gladiator.
Gladiator.
Yeah. I could just imagine Connell like after like taking down like the big boss, the big bad's henchman, and walking around and be like, "Are you not entertained?"
Hell yeah.
I have no idea. Probably something like
Willy Wonka.
Hocus Pocus.
The new Willy Wonka.
oh yeah, probably something like that. You guys
No,
answer
I think-
for me.
I think Veronia is the kind of person that would like, she like me would just binge watch true crime stuff on Netflix constantly.
that, or she'd be just really into musicals for some reason, or like really bad horror. Or okay, here we go. Here's one: The Original Ring. There you go.
Ooh,
Okay.
Like the Japanese.
Yeah, like that. But yeah,
Ringu. Okay.
indeed, yeah, something like that. I reckon.
Okay.
I'm
Reese?
good. I honestly 100% have no idea.
That's fine.
Hairspray. Cats.
Once.
Cats. Yeah, sure.
Oh
Aristocats. Let's go with that.
no. Okay.
Everybody wants to be a cat.
All right. Moving swiftly on from cats. Next question is from Sasha, one of our new members in the Discord. Which song would be your character's go-to karaoke song, and what song are they listening to on repeat?
I literally almost started singing.
Playlist.
Yep.
For Reese, it probably
We do
be the same
have-
one.
We do have character playlists, which I really do need to share them on the Discord. Some of them already have been, but I'll
I
get
did
on that.
mine.
Yeah.
I'm really curious if anybody can guess what song Rob's would be, because it's super obvious.
I mean,
Some jazzy ass.
Oh, I mean,
Gravity.
Rainbow.
Defying Gravity. Like,
Defying Gravity.
Wicked.
Absolutely.
I love Defying Gravity.
Which is my go-to song when I go and sing karaoke.
amazing.
Amazing.
No wizard in all of Oz. Anyway, Soldier Poet King is the same song is like what he would listen to on repeat and be singing.
Hell yeah.
I think so. Connell's the one he listens to on repeat would be "We Will Rock You." There's a specific cover called what do you call it?
Is it the Lizzie Hale one? It's like
Yeah.
all the top female fronted metal musicians. Yeah.
Yes, that one.
Excellent.
Like that's the top of his playlist, and then I think his karaoke song would be the one immediately below that, which is "Black Betty" by Spiderbait. It was in
Okay.
The Hitman's Bodyguard. It sounds a bit more like it's got like a bit of like banjo in the background, a bit more country feel, and it's just fucking love it.
Hell yeah.
I reckon favorite song would probably be Moon Shadow by Cat Stevens, aka Yusuf Islam, and song on song on repeat or karaoke? Sorry.
Well, top karaoke song and song that they would have on repeat.
Oh, Moon Shadow on repeat, and then karaoke song would probably be something like "Don't Stop Believing." I reckon.
Oh, I want to see that.
Oh my god.
Just a small town cat living in a broken ass shack.
Exactly.
Okay, I was gonna pick something else, but I'll have to say the song she's listening to on repeat, just to get inspired, is Warrior by Beth Crowley. And then singing, I think she would be singing Seven Wonders by Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
love Fleetwood Mac so much.
hell yeah.
I do.
Hell yeah. Oh, thanks for asking that question. I love that question. Okay, couple more. So this one from Talia, my better half. Any role-playing tips for a D&D newbie?
Oh my god, so many.
One tip
Don't
per
get
person. Go.
stressed.
Mm.
Don't get stressed and overthink things, because I'm still doing that. And it gets in your head. Like, seriously. Just have fun.
The only limit is your imagination for what you can do. If it's within the realm of your character's abilities, you can do it.
I think the number one thing is find a table that you are comfortable at. Because if you are comfortable, you will feel freer to do so many more things. And you'll be so much more excited to play your character and to play with these people. So just, and understanding that that might not be your first table. That it is totally okay to find a table, to go through a couple and find a table that you're actually comfortable at.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
I second that.
This is one I struggle with from time to time because I know I get nervous about talking over people, but trust that your moment will come. If not now, then soon. And soon you'll, who knows, you might end up crying on stream.
Okay.
Let's see. Don't be afraid to be true to the character. Kind of like, I guess this is a dual thing, but I like to know as much as I can about my character. Kind of starting off like, what are his favorite things? Who is he? How tall is he? What color are his eyes? Where does he come from? The town, his mom and dad, so on and so forth. And this will help inform me of how he acts and reacts and plays and is. Yeah. And so don't be afraid of your character. Just go for it. Have fun. Let the character speak. Put yourself out of your body and let your character speak.
Okay, next one. From Scarlett again. For those of you who have experience with both, what do you prefer? Playing or DMing?
I mean, both, but just for completely different reasons. For me, it's apples and oranges. It's like, as a DM, you're getting to create a world and to tell a story and to have people come into your world and help you tell that story, which is always just glorious, that the act of creation. And as a player, getting to sort of sit back and explore someone else's world. And to, my thing is I always like as a player, can I break it? Is the world fragile enough that I can break it, or will it survive my encounter with it? And if it survives, it's a good world.
Just quality assurance testing, that's all.
If it survives, it's a good world. I'm gonna have to kind of repeat the sentiment. Creating a world is amazing. I am in the process currently of creating a world in which the home world of the Moonkeep. Where the Moonkeep comes from is a world in which of my own creation, Fearwind, and it's very immaculate. And it's so fun. Even getting down to the political structures within each country is so incredibly fun. I think what terrifies me about it, though, is actually portraying it and wanting to portray the world right. And that is what stops me from DMing more than I do, is I want my world to shine true, and I want my players to have fun in my world. But that's also a fear to just get through. So I prefer playing just because I'm too scared to DM sometimes.
I mean, for me, for most of my experience, I've been a forever GM. But over this year especially, I have started playing more and more regularly, and as much as I adore Rhódania and everything that we do, the feeling of being unleashed as a player for me is intoxicating. I have so much fun as a player, and I'm blessed to have a wonderful DM in Phoenix Iwaki, who is incredible. And I've played enough sessions for him, guest appearances, and now regularly on the channel. He knows how to mess with me. He knows how to do it in a way that I really love, and is a challenge for me because, like, you know, I've always aspired to be a voice actor and an actor in general, and it really challenges me being in the player spot. You know, as a DM, you do have that with NPCs and stuff, but I think a more personalised journey as an actual PC is a much more exciting challenge for me personally. That's just where my head goes with it. But yeah.
I've done some one shots in the past. So like I've sat in the DM chair, but with those, it's, you guys are talking about like the storytelling aspect. I really focus and knuckle down on like the game aspect. So like I did like a pirate themed one shot where the players are stuck in this cavern, and all of a sudden a swarm of bats hit them. They fall down like this cavern, and all of a sudden they're in the slide level from Super Mario 64. And like there's skill checks and there's this and that, and they have to make a jump at the end. If they don't, they fall down this pit. And so it's whaling and all these like fun, cool mechanics to throw something new at my friends every time we sit down and play. Like I did like a Battle of the Bands one shot, which is fucking my best one yet. So I had like a table from like 1 to 20. They rolled a d20, and I gave a different musician that they had to make a character out of. I had Steven Universe, Chad Kroger from Nickelback, Lady Gaga, and the Gorillaz. So, like, and as we played through, like there was like all these like musical theme things going throughout the game, and there was they encountered a Jigglypuff, and they're like, "Holy fuck, we gotta get away from this thing, or we're going to sleep." And it's just fun shit like that. But no, I love being a player, hands down.
See, now I want to write something with you, because I did something like similar but for theater, where it was like essentially it was all of the squires of this party. Like the players were all the squires, and this amazing, super high level, like, you know, heroes, they had gone off to another plane, and then their bodies, flaming, just fall back down into camp, all dead because of this crazy thing that had just happened in this other plane right when they arrived. And all these squires, like, essentially were homeless now. They had no idea what to do. So they took all of the equipment from their masters and had to go pretend that they were them. And the king demanded that they do an actual play explaining all of the feats that they had done in their career. And all of the players had to do all this stuff and do this perfect play. And we wrote like a little skeleton script for it with like, here's the scene changes that you'll have to do, and here's the props that you have to bring out, and here's this, that, and the other thing. And while they're trying to perform this play, a group of kobolds invades the castle. So while they're backstage, they're battling kobolds, but they can't fuck up the play, or else they won't get the castle that the king promised them. So it's just very noises off, like, which I absolutely, so I am here for you on that. That absolutely makes me so happy.
Last couple of questions. First of all, from Scarlet, for my, what colour are the toe beans on Veronia?
What colour's your beans?
This might be the most important question of the night.
Personal question. Oh my goodness. I like to think like her each bean is like a different colour. But like the pads are kind of like pinky with a little splodge of black on it. She'll have like maybe one or two, because she's polydactyl, maybe black here, black there, or maybe like a little bit of an orangey colour, and then the rest are pinky. So.
Can I follow up on that question? Ask why is she wearing gloves?
You can choose whether or not to reveal that information.
I say you'll find out.
Oh yeah.
Aha!
Okay.
Tune in next time.
On another Junkies.
And then there's just a couple of questions left from Grim, which are for me. So I will get through them quickly, and then we can wrap up, because I know some of us have to go to bed. First of all, did you prep/approach Campaign 3 differently than you did the other campaigns? If so, how? Short answer, mostly yes. But there were elements that so like one thing that I always do is to try, it's something that I get complimented on, is that my worlds always feel really alive and breathable. And so one way that I do that is I have like a Google Docs sheet, and I have every individual town in this document and a space for every session, and I force myself in the after the session, whether it be straight after or the couple of days after, I will put one thing that happens in each location every week, even if it's going to have no significance on the story whatsoever, like someone elected a new mayor, something like that. I put it in there because you never know when it's going to come up in handy. But in regards to being differently, I knew that there was going to be a time jump. So there's an 8-year time jump between campaigns. And in that time, the thing that the players from Campaign 2 were going to try and stop ended up happening. But it's left for interpretation as to whether or not it happened fully, or if it was prevented, or if it partially happened. Mainly because if there's a chance to tie up Campaign 2 with a one-shot in the future, I absolutely want to do that, because we didn't get to finish the way that we wanted to finish. But I knew that because the event was the reconvergence, where realms were sort of colliding almost, and people and places were moving across realities, my initial instinct was, okay, the thing I'm going to present to the players is, when you're creating your character, bear in mind, they don't have to be from this reality. And I'm not going to reveal how many, but a good few of the group are not native from Rhódania. And we'll find out in the story just how many it is. But that's presented a lot of cool stuff for me, which...
Well, we're aware of 2 already. We know at least 2. Yeah.
Well, I'm technically not, I'm assuming. But...
I mean, we'll find out as the campaign goes on. But other than that, my prep was pretty much the same. I just shout at these guys, make a character, do cool shit, do what you want, I don't care, we're going to make an excellent story, and outsmart me. And they all said, okay. And here we are.
And I will suplex every fight.
Yeah.
Or yeet a cat.
Yep.
And
There's
then
2 of them.
the last question was also presented, in a comical fashion. It simply says, "Dear Patch, what the fuck, man?"
I think we'd all like to know that.
Yeah. I mean, first of all,
what is the fuck?
So first of all,
Yep.
I'm flattered because that is like a Matt Mercer meme. So I'm very flattered. Thank you. Also, do you know what? My answer is just going to be a smile.
Gotta
And-
watch every Monday.
You're going to have to. So, with that, we're going to wrap things up now. If we didn't get your questions in time, there will be next time. We're going to try and do this maybe every 8 weeks or so. I kind of like, 8 sessions at a time seems like a good number. But keep your eyes out in the Discord and on social media for announcements about when we do the next thing of Lore Junkies. Guys, I hope you enjoyed doing it. It was fun for me just to sit back and chill. Really appreciate you doing this from holiday. Please enjoy the rest of your holiday.
Funny butlins.
Hey, it's still a holiday and you've earned it. So yeah, big love to you all. Thanks for coming, everyone in the chat, and our lovely raiders from the Rolling Together team. You guys continue to be amazing. And yeah, we're going to finish up there. So we will see you next Monday for session 9 of the Rhódania Chronicles. What will happen next? Thank you for following the OK's GM. Yeah, I'm sure you're better than OK. I bet you're amazing. So what will happen next Monday in the fallout of the battle with the Dancer of Shadows? And what's happening with Thrash and the Goddess of the Moon? Is Brim Smallboy gonna join you on your adventures forward? Is Veronia gonna be crowned Queen of the Feywild? What's happening? There's only one way to find out, guys. We'll see you on Monday. See you later.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
If I can find my mouse pointer. There it is. Bye!
Bye.